Oh, you don't know the overtime rules for One Piece? I can help with that. Come with me. Let's get this straight, because a lot of people get confused with the 3-turn thing and the 5 minutes. Basically, overtime ends once one of these two things happens. So if 5 minutes expires before the players complete 3 turns, then overtime is done. Or if the players complete 3 turns before 5 minutes have passed, overtime is also done. It's not one or the other. I've had a lot of people saying to me, it's like when 5 minutes are up, they go, oh, I haven't had my turn 3 yet, so we can keep playing, right? No, overtime is already done. Or even sometimes when 3 turns have passed, but there's still time on the clock, people go, oh, like we still have like 2.5 minutes left to play, right? It's like, no, overtime is done if 3 turns have passed. What is 3 turns? When overtime begins, the player whose turn it is, that is considered as turn 0. When they pass to their opponent, it becomes turn 1. When they pass again, turn 2, and then turn 3. Simple enough, right? What exactly are the tiebreakers? The first one's real simple. Whoever has the most life wins. Second one's also pretty easy. Whoever has the most cards in the deck will win. So if you're a Nami player, I hope you're not in overtime. The third one is whoever has the most characters on board will win. For the last tiebreaker, I'll get a friend to help explain that one. Alright, this is David. He's also a One Piece judge and pretty decent player actually. What is the last tiebreaker when you're in overtime?
Yeah, so the last tiebreaker for overtime is that the last person to have taken their life will win the game.
So David, let's pretend I'm at 3 life and you're at 2 life. It's turn 3, 5 seconds to go. You swing at me and I take it. So now I'm at 2 life, you're still at 2 life. And then overtime finishes. Who wins the game?
Well, in this scenario, you would win the game because you were the last person to take the life.
Right, I see. So pretty much, up until that point, I was ahead in life, so that's why I win.
Exactly. And
Perfect.
It doesn't matter how long this has been, it could be just that second, or it could be like 10 turns ago. As long as you were the person to last take that life, or you were more recently on more life, you'd win the game.
Cool. So pretty good tiebreakers and actually prevent a lot of draws in this scenario.
Exactly. So pretty much for One Piece, you'll almost never get a draw. I've never seen a draw happen.
Yeah.
Not since the very beginning
Not
of
since
One
a super pre-release. Okay, so David, we've gone through what the overtime rules are, what the tiebreakers are. Do you have any tips for the people who always find themselves in overtime but keep losing?
We want to film this while we're doing it, while we have this set up. Yeah, so the first tip is to definitely play towards your win condition depending on what tiebreaker to go. So if it's more life, if it's characters, or if it's the cards in your deck. So let's say in this scenario where it's the last turn of overtime and we're both on 2 life, I can just play a 9-drop Linlin, use her ability to gain a life, and at the end of that turn, I'd be declared the winner of the game because I'm on more life now.
Easy.
So that's my win condition. So that's the win condition I should be playing for.
And I guess this is really good for yellow players because they have so many cards that just heal.
Yeah, they have so many cards that heal. They can steal wins.
And if you're a Vegapunk, you could be down 1 life. You can play, let's say, a Yamato, heal, and then use your leader effect. Let's pretend it's Vegapunk. Trash a card, and then heal again.
Yeah.
And then now you're up 3.
Now you're up. Exactly.
Pretty insane.
It's pretty insane.
So the number 1 tip is play yellow.
On that same note, if my win condition is life, I definitely shouldn't be swinging at the bodies. So you see here, my opponent's at 3 life, I'm at 2 life. If I start swinging at their bodies, they'll just take it. I'm not advancing my game state at all, and now my opponent will win because they have higher life than me. In this scenario, I should have swung at life and tried to get the life at least equal.
Pretty much, let's say David was at turn 2, and turn 3 is the last turn. He might as well go for broke if he knows he's going to lose the next turn. Because in this state, there's no way that on turn 3, I'm going to lose any life.
Another tip is don't slow play. If you intentionally slow play, that will get you a game loss.
Yep.
You don't need to be looking at your trash or your opponent's trash all the time.
Yep.
You don't need to know how many cards they have in their hand all the time.
Yep.
You don't need to ask silly questions like how many Dawn they have all the time. Of course, these are important things to know for the game state, but if it's too much, that's slow play and you will get a game loss. A good rule of thumb is that a turn shouldn't really take more than 1 to 2 minutes in overtime.
Yeah.
Any longer than that, something's going wrong.
If you're ever concerned, just call a judge. Someone will come to help you. They'll be responsible for how overtime's handled.
The key thing to remember is just knowing the time win conditions. It's life first, then cards in deck, then characters on board, and then the last person who took life. So always keep these in mind when you go into time, just so that you're not messing yourself up and going for board when you should be going for life.
Sometimes you just have to go for broke. Right, so those are some general tips on how you can possibly win in overtime. Do you have any other easy ones?
So just the general takeaway of the video is to make sure you know how tiebreakers are calculated and you know what your win condition is in the scenario you're in. So make sure you're not swinging at characters when you should swing at life. Make sure you're not milling yourself out with any card effects. And make sure you're not slow playing.
Yep, that's a pretty big one. Just make sure all of the actions that you're taking is intentional and actually progressing the game forward. On the note of milling yourself out, if you see that there's your opponent's on 2 life, you're also on 2 life, maybe you want to think twice about using your Lucci leader effect and milling those 2 extra cards from the deck. Thank you so much, David. I hope you all learned something from this video, maybe clear some things up, and I guess the other main tip in when dealing with overtime is try your best not to go into overtime. It always gets hairy. If you have any questions, please make sure to comment down below and we'll try our best to answer them. Thank you so much.
Sweet.